everybody, welcome to Generation X Nation. Now, normally my platform, I do a lot of reality TV recaps and some hot topics. But hey, I am a taxpayer. I'm very familiar with what's going on in Washington, D.C. And as much as we try to just ignore the Mad King, sometimes you have to stand up and speak. Because just like the rest of y'all, my tax dollars are going towards some of this BS, and it's getting out of freaking control. When I seen this $1.7 billion you want to give the January 6th insurrectionists, I had to speak up because I remember the exact day and time that it happened. I remember sitting on my couch watching it on TV. And I was sitting here like, I know you effing lying. I thought they were just going to stand out in front of the place and protest. That's normal with some signs and, all of that other stuff. I literally watched them start climbing up the walls on TV. They wanted Mike Pence. They wanted to hang Mike Pence. They wanted to unalive Mike Pence. So you sitting here rewarding this type of behavior is outrageous to me. And you want to take $1.7 billion of our tax money to do this? But you can't give black people reparations? And by the way, y'all will never see reparations. Stop asking for it. I'm just going to keep it a buck. They never giving y'all nothing. But he sure can find the money for that. But you know what they can't find money for? They can't find money for health insurance for the elderly and the disabled. They can't find the additional funds for the fund the SNAP program. And I know y'all say, oh, everybody on SNAP is a fraud. That's not true. And you learned that back in October, November, when they took the SNAP food, and you seen a lot of people up there needing their SNAP. Now, I know a lot of reporters tried to go to the neighborhoods of people of color, but it was a whole bunch of people out in them other lands that needed SNAP. See, they wasn't out there showing the lines in Wyoming and Idaho and Iowa and Nebraska. They go to D.C., where they know a lot of black people live at. They go down to Georgia somewhere. Go to those states, North Dakota, South Dakota. Who was in line out there? Because they had food banks too. But that's what they feed y'all, and y'all believe it's always us. For some reason, y'all do not like African Americans in this country, and all we do is get up and mind our business. That's it. We don't bother nobody, but we harassed all the time. Chug the Builder, perfect example. Sitting in jail, y'all raising money because it's his freedom of speech. So if I'm sitting here having a steak dinner with my family, or if I'm sitting out at the lake, enjoying the sunset, and he walks up to me with a camera. And yes, he has a right to record in public. I get that. And start calling me the N word. And you look at her chimping out. Look at her chimping out. Nigga, 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 whatever. And I'm just supposed to just sit there. And if I respond, I'm the aggressor. I did something wrong. Him agitating me was nothing. So for a man to purposely get out of his bed, put a camera together, go downtown, and harass a person of color, nothing wrong with him. Who does that? Who does that? You literally get up every day to go harass people, and y'all said freedom of speech. The problem is these platforms that allow this kind of crap to go on. These platforms need to stop. If they stop funding and monetizing this crap, trust me, they'll stop doing it because it's all about money to them. He ain't got nan job, but he get up every morning to do that and make money off him. So now you make money off of using the N-word, and guarantee you, if those platforms were not allowed to use the N-word, because they seem to use that more than they use any other derogatory term towards any other ethnicity. They don't talk about other people like they talk about us. I can scroll my timeline for 10 minutes and find at least 30 videos of somebody using the N-word. But I don't hear him talking about Jewish people like that, because you do that, oh, you are banned from the platforms. And I'm going to be honest, X is probably the worst at it. Elon Musk don't give a damn what you say about people. He is terrible at that. At least the other platforms try to police the language. He doesn't care. He's probably the biggest promoter of it. Him and some of them streaming platforms that they do, Kick and all of that. If they stop allowing people to use the N word on those platforms, you know how many content creators would probably lose money, be not unmonetized. But hey, they don't care as long as they make money off of it. All right. So our president so far as helping the black community, has eliminated voting rights at the Supreme Court level, dismantled the Civil Rights Act, told people not to teach Black history in school because he don't want white kids to feel bad about what their ancestors did to us. Got rid of DEI in most of the workplaces because y'all under the impression that DEI means that a person gets a job without merit. So if I hire a Black doctor, like he didn't go to medical school, he didn't take any type of medical certificates, he didn't do certifications, he didn't do a residency anywhere. He just got a cap, gown, graduated, and a scalpel and went on to start doing surgery on people. That's what they want y'all to believe. DEI does not mean that you don't have the same credentials as the other person. It just means we want a workforce that look like our country. We want more diverse, more men, more women, more people of color. All white men can't do it all the time. Look at the country now. How's that working out for us? That's all I'm saying. Reduced the amount of federal funding for HBCU colleges. He cut that down. He's spending $13 million or more to paint the reflection pool blue, like it's an Olympic swimming pool or something, where people are losing health care or can't afford health care anymore. SNAP benefits have been decreased. Housing assistance is getting decreased. They will not even help people with student loans. When they ask for help with student loans, as far as giving the 20,000 or 10,000 to help some of these people with these outrageous amounts of student loans, they said absolutely not. But you know what they did come up with? A $1.7 billion slush fund that they're trying to pass. So they can't give you money for help with your student loans. They can't help fund SNAP. They can't help fund First Start program, Head Start programs. But they got 1.7 billion to give the insurrectionists from January 6th. They got 1 billion to build a freaking golden ballroom that Donald Trump's name is going to be on it. That's why he's so pushing. He wants his name to live in infamy. He wants his name on something in Washington, D.C. and at White House forever. And it's going to be called the Donald Trump's Golden Ballroom, just like he tried to rename the Kennedy Center. Let's just keep it a buck. So he can take our tax dollars and spend it on that crap. But he can't take the same tax dollars and help out the everyday American. We have now got gas prices at the average $5 to $6 a gallon and 7 to 8 depending on what part of the country you live in. Groceries is out of control. And he said, I don't care about Americans' economy. He don't care. He don't care what we're going through. But he care about a $1 billion ballroom and a $1.7 billion slush fund for the January 6 rioters. He care about that. That means more to him. When we all know it's just him buying more votes, for November, making sure his people get in to continue the country on this downward spiral. And we got a freaking war that God knows how much that's cost us already. But I still have Black Mega out here. He's doing great. He's doing so much for us. He's done so much for the Black people. But when you say what has he done specifically, you can't name one thing. You can't even get a book out of the library or a school that has a Black author, like a Maya Angelou or Toni Morrison. Although you pay tax dollars to that school and that library on your homeowner's property taxes. So I pay property taxes to keep that library funded and that school funded, but your child and you can't go up to that school or that library and get a book by a Black author. The same school that your child goes to, the same school that you pay for your child to go to through your property taxes, can't even find a book by a person written with the same color as you. But these people, Black Mega, is doing a great job. Where? You keep saying that, but you're not giving me specific details. You say, I love all Trump's policies. That is such a general statement. Every mega person in America says that. What's going on? I love Trump's policies. Then you say, what policies? All of them. Trump doesn't have policies, people. Trump has a bunch of executive orders. Executive orders are not policies. As soon as a new person comes into the White House, executive orders no longer exist. That's all I'm saying. But we are so behind comprehension wise in this country, and I'm finding it out. That's how Trump and Mega is winning, because y'all don't even understand half the stuff that come out your mouth. You really don't. And then you say this, oh, Black Mega. Well, Barack Obama and Mega. Barack Obama is one that caused a divide. No, he didn't. Barack Obama ran back in 2007, 2008 for the presidency. The divide started as soon as he announced he was running for president. And then all these people on Fox News, the Bill O'Reillys, the Rush Limbaughs, they start all of a sudden becoming different people. They didn't want this black man to win. They were literally interviewing people in the South who said there will never be an N word in the White House. I seen it. 2008. That was 18 years ago. So some of y'all might have been young, but go look up some of the footage. He never ran on division. He ran on hope and change. And if you see his speech when he won the first time that night in that park in Chicago, there was nothing divisive about it. There was people of every race and color there in tears, crying because they was happy to see there was change in this country. At least they thought so. He never, never tried to divide us. You know, when he walked in that White House, you know who was dividing him? The Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams, who said he would be a one-term president, who said we would not sign anything that he put forth. The only way he was able to get half the stuff through was because at the first term, the first couple of years, the Democrats was in charge of Congress, and Nancy Pelosi was in charge. But as soon as the Republicans took over, they didn't sign off on anything. He tried to get a Supreme Court justice in there a year before him leaving. And they said, "Oh, you're not going to be here long enough to do a judge." But you let Trump do it a month or two before his time was up. They created a divide. I remember Rush Limbaugh had a whole song that he played called Barack the Magic Negro. Go look it up. Stop saying that man divided the country. He did not divide the country. The country divided because a black man became president. They did that on their own. It had nothing to do with him. He never screamed any words out of his mouth to make this country divisive. They became divisive on their own. They literally did. And then they was pissed because he won a second time. And they just could not understand it. He took over this country when gas was $4 a gallon. And the housing market had literally crashed because you had all of these fake lenders, Donald Trump's friends, who were taking billions and billions of dollars on these mortgage loans, these mortgage fraud, and giving houses to people at adjustable rates that worked at McDonald's. You had a person working at McDonald's in a $200,000 house. And back then, that was a nice size house. And he had a 2% interest rate. And then when that time for like the first 2 or 3 years or whatever, and when that time came up and he got that balloon rate and that balloon payment, and then he realized, oh my God, I can't. And they found out all over the country these mortgage companies was doing this. And then the mortgage companies just closed down. Countrywide, all these, they just closed down, took the money and ran. And all these houses went into default. That's what happened. That's when Barack Obama came into office. That's what he was up against. And he cleaned all of that up. All of that. Got the country back to a place where we was running smoothly. He inherited that war from Bush. He didn't Bush started that war in 2001 after 9/11, 2001, 2002. People started going across the water. Y'all keep talking about Barack Obama. Barack Obama never started any war in Afghanistan, any of that. That was Bush's war. So when you say what did he do for black people? He didn't do just for black. He did for everybody in this country. Now, some of the programs he put out, we were able to benefit from along with everybody else. Y'all wanted him to specifically say, this is just for African Americans, like your president is doing right now. This is just for white people. He wants to give white reparations along with the 1.7 billion to the January insurrectionists. And y'all cool with that. Y'all gonna still vote for him. But he didn't do, Barack Obama didn't behave that way. Because if he'd have said that, they would have asked for his head and impeached him. He knew what he was up against. They never wanted him in there. And he did the best he could in spite of the situation. But y'all go ahead and believe all that crap. I lived through it. I lived through 9/11 wasn't a hoax. I know somebody who was in the building I worked with. Okay? I remember the day it happened, driving into work, listening to the radio. That wasn't no hoax. That really happened. And there's people to this day still suffering mentally through that. There are people to this day whose children grew up without their parents because of that. So you got to stop. The internet got to do better with just putting anything out there. That's all I'm saying. As a taxpayer, y'all should be furious of what this man is doing, but y'all okay with it. But you want to flip back and blame the black folks. And last but not least, all of these black podcasters and streamers and whatever you want to call them. I mean, I'm not black, white people who get out here and make money off of us. What did we do to y'all? But just get up and live our lives. If you're worried about, oh, what about black on black crime? Black on black crime, is it affecting you? You and your neighborhood. If I'm hurting a black person, then that means I'm not hurting a white person. Go mind your business. I don't ask you about the meth heads in the trailer park and the people up in the mountains of Tennessee, the mountains of West Virginia, the mountains of Kentucky, sleeping with their second cousins, making. I don't ask you about any of that. We don't ask you about the your children who go up to the school and pow everybody. We don't ask you about the serial killers. We don't ask you about the pedos and who only mess with children. We mind our business, but y'all all up in our business. And then sometimes it gets frustrating. That's all I'm saying. As a taxpayer in this country, y'all should be livid that this man is trying to give these people money who came to Washington, D.C. on that day that they were certifying the election and tried to take over that building. I watched it live on TV as it unfolded. It wasn't fake. They were not there as a tourist. I watched it live. I was shocked. I thought they was just gonna be standing out there protesting. When I seen them climbing the walls and smoke bombs started coming, I said, "You got to be kidding me!" And then somebody got unalived. I couldn't believe it. And you want my taxpayer dollars to reward this, but you can't give black folks reparation? So the Stephen A. Smiths of the world and the Walker Flocks of the world and Nicki Minaj of the world and all y'all standing behind Trump's a great guy. He do everything for black people. Just tell me something he's done for black people, please. And don't go to, well, he pardons the people out of jail. If that's all you have lowered us down to be is some fucking criminals, then leave that. No. People get pardoned out of jail all the time. I need something specifically that he's done for us. He won't even give y'all money to help with your student loans. Ain't enough money for that. Ain't enough money to fund the subsidies for Obamacare so people can have health care, the Affordable Care Act. Ain't enough subsidies of that. But I got 1.7 billion to give these people. I got 1 billion to build a dining hall. I got 13 million to freaking paint a pool blue. This man is using the Department of Treasury as his personal bank, like this Bank of America. And that Benson guy's just signing a check every time he asks for it. Y'all don't see that? We're running farther and farther in debt, trillions in debt. Nobody likes us. This is the collapse of this country. And y'all sit here thinking it's a joke, and it's not a freaking joke. Y'all need to pay attention. Stop listening to sound bites. Stop letting people make clown of you. And all you people out here with this, oh, we're gonna do, just stop. Focus on the task at hand. Because while we're over here doing all this other stuff, they behind our backs doing this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying don't have your black joy. I'm not saying don't enjoy what's going on right now. It's graduation season, people getting accomplished, everything. But don't let them hijack our word. When we say stay woke, I'm still staying woke. I don't care what they say, the woke agenda. F them. I stay woke all the time and I know what's going on around me. And that's what y'all better start doing. And if you're doing it, then you might want to teach your children to. Because there's a lot of kids out here that think this stuff ain't going to affect them. And trust me, hon, if we're in Generation X Nation and I see it, I'm Gen X, that's my generation. We're on the downhill. We about to retire or have retired and living our dream. This is their world. And they not paying attention because they're too busy with the bull. Doing dances on TikTok, you know what I'm saying? Running around here doing team takeovers and all. I don't know. I don't know what to tell my people anymore. All I know is we better stay woke and we better start watching what's going on around us because we ain't got nothing left to lose. The only thing we can do now is start looking for some gains. And with that being said, you guys need to vote like your life depended on it. That's all I'm saying. Y'all keep thinking Trump helping y'all.